everyone. Welcome to Moving the Chains here on Team NBS Media. Happy Wednesday, and thank you for tuning in to our AFC NFC preview show. I'm here with Cam and Jeff. Happy to be together talking about football. How are you guys?
I'm good. Happy to talk football.
Running my race.
I feel like I should remember who you picked, Jeff, to advance, but I don't remember. So you get to tell us at the end of the show.
You got it. I don't think I did pick anybody earlier this year.
Yeah, I feel like I asked what everyone's hot take was, not Super Bowl take. But I asked Cam. I should have done.
I'm trying to remember mine. I don't know.
I feel like I should have went back in time and remembered what your hot takes were. I'll do it when you guys are talking, because then it'll be like.
Wait, I know mine. It was the Kansas City Chiefs that missed the playoffs.
Oh, yes. And look at you. Predicted the truth. Not by injury, just by default.
Yeah.
We never wish that upon anybody.
Well, technically, they were eliminated before he got hurt.
That's true. You're right. I was just going to say, he was already out. All right, last week we had crazy games, and we need to talk about the eliminated teams because I feel like we are due to talk some trash, I would say, on what happened, and so many things have happened because of these losses. So I think we should start off with the Bears because that's a positive. We'll start this off on a positive note. Chicago has seen an entirely different team after what we saw from poor Caleb Williams last year. I mean, that man was beaten to shreds. We said it on every single show. The offensive line needed help. Caleb needs to be able to just show us what he's got, what he's working with. And he's done exactly that, a total 180. So I'll let you guys go. Jeff, what do you think and what do you like from what you saw from the Bears from this season?
Well, for all the Bears fans that kept saying, oh, he's a bust, I think you've changed your tune by now about Caleb Williams. You know exactly what he is. He's a young player with a lot of talent that's still growing. And guess what? He also needed help. He got some help this offseason. And look where you ended up, just a few minutes away from possibly going to a conference championship for the first time in, I think, at least 20 years we're talking, right? You know, we're talking about a team who defensively, they hadn't had all of the money and tools to spend on that side of the ball because they had to make such a drastic change on offense. So they told their defensive coordinator, you're going to have to make do with what you've got. He did that. Now, come back next year where you have draft picks, you have free agency, we have some money to spend to help him out on the defensive side of the ball and still supplement the offensive side because you're not done. That is not a finished product of an offense. We saw that late in the season where they had struggles for 2+ quarters. Then finally, middle of the third, fourth quarter, they start to come on and make plays. That offense has to turn around and be able to do that for 4 quarters. They have to run the book football for 4 quarters. They haven't been able to do that for a while as well. So they're going to come around, get better next year, but you have to be encouraged with the strides you saw this year. You went from a team that was drafting top 10 to being in the Elite 8, as we say in the NFL.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We all shouted from the rooftops what we needed to see change, and I think we saw a version of that. What about you, Cam? What did you like from Caleb Williams specifically?
I mean, for Bears fans, you finally got a franchise quarterback. For your whole life, your existence, you've never had a franchise quarterback. You have Caleb Williams. Yes, he went through struggles, but what he's shown us this year was Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson type of play. You know, when the ball is in his hands, the last moment of the game, Caleb Williams is going to come through. So I think Caleb Williams solidified himself as the franchise quarterback, but the Bears have a long way going. They got to keep developing this roster. They got to keep bringing in talent, and they got to stay on this game plan because this whole new Bears, it's like a completely different organization, and I'm liking where it's going.
Yeah, I mean, I think the excitement around Chicago was league-wide. Anybody that was a fan was just happy to see Caleb Williams make that 180, like I said already. Okay, the next matchup, I mean, it was ugly. CJ Stroud was bad. There's no way to put it kindly. That guy could have not asked for a better defense to keep him afloat, and he just dropped literally every ball that he could. And it was pretty hard to watch because I think I was rooting for that Texans defense just solely based off of what we've seen in Super Bowls. Like when you have a good defense against a stellar offense, it just makes the game so much more competitive. So let's just start with the CJ Stroud flaws. And I'll start with Cam because I went to Jeff first. I mean, like, what were your thoughts? Like, what did you think about this matchup?
I can't believe CJ Stroud wasted. Could have been the best defense in NFL history. Could have been on the best run. And CJ Stroud was like this all year. For the past 2 years, he's had a turnover problem, and it seemed like he's not the same guy as his rookie year. You can call him a one-hit wonder, but he hasn't progressed into a franchise quarterback. I feel like every guy around him, defense, Will Anderson, you have multiple guys, Nico Collins, Dalton Schultz, all these guys, they're making plays. But it's like, when is the franchise quarterback that we drafted with a top 10 pick going to show up? And he hasn't shown up, even though he's won playoff games. But that's because of his defense and because of other people. So CJ Stroud got to take a look in the mirror this offseason and think about what type of player he wants to be, because I'm pretty sure the Texans are looking at that last playoff game being like, I don't know if we can do 10 to 15 years with this guy.
Yeah, I mean, I literally went on Blue Sky and X, and I was like, should Davis Mills warm up? Like, at what point are we trying to see what we can do, right? I get it. Your franchise quarterback is CJ Stroud, but after how many times in the first half do you have to see the ball not go where it's supposed to go and go to the opposing team and just give them good yardage, right? It was too much. It was too much. All right, Jeff, what did you think in this game?
I thought in this game the same thing I thought the last playoff game with the Texans. There's something going on with CJ Stroud, and some people suspect injury. There's more than injury. You saw the bobbling of snaps. You saw the interceptions. The most telling thing to me was he looked unsure. Plenty of times in the pocket, he has the ball. He's not sure what he's doing with the ball, whether he wants to throw it, whether he wants to hold on to it, whether he's trusting his read. He looked very unsure plenty of times in the pocket. He didn't run when he had opportunities to run and get yardage. He stood in there and took hits that he didn't have to. This was not the CJ Stroud we've watched his rookie year. This is not even the CJ Stroud we saw in the regular season the past 2 years. This is a CJ Stroud that came into this playoffs and was very unsure of himself. And he looked like that. And I don't know, and there's something he's going to have to fix, because the worst thing that can happen to an NFL player is you lose your confidence. Whether you're a kicker, whether you're a center, whether you're a quarterback, whether you're a receiver or a DB, the worst thing you could ever do is lose your confidence. So he's got some real soul searching to do this offseason to figure out if he's ever going to get that confidence back and start to resemble a player he came into the league as, or the player he was even as Ohio State. Because this kind of looked like the early days of CJ Stroud at Ohio State, who was very unsure of himself, who couldn't make throws because he was not sure what he was seeing, what he was doing with the football. He kind of reverted back to that. He's got to get back on track. He's got to get confident. Whoever the new offensive coordinator is going to come in there has to get him on track, because plain and simple, if he doesn't work, this offense doesn't work.
I mean, let's keep it real. New England didn't play a beautiful game themselves, okay?
No.
It was like a turnover madness in that matchup. Like, anybody could get it. Really, anybody could get it. And it just happened to be New England capitalizing on too many mistakes from CJ. So I feel like that was also something the Texans could have taken advantage of. Like, these were just two young guys trying to show that their teams turned things around, that, this was their chance. And it was just really bad. I mean, literally the whole first half, I'm like, what are we watching? But you could see how the youth really showcased in that game, right? Like, compared to the Niners game, even though the Seattle defense was so good, it was just like, these are two a little bit more seasoned teams compared to what we were seeing with this matchup. Yeah, I think CJ Stroud, he got a lot of adjustments to make next year. All right, we all saw Josh Allen crying and say that he took the blame for everything, which, like, who runs with the ball like this? I didn't even understand that play. And then you get Sean McDermott fired, and it's just like, it's so confusing, right? It's very confusing. So I'm going to lead with that. The Josh Allen transition to firing your head coach. What are your thoughts? And either of you could go. Let's go, Jeff. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, we've seen this year teams look at their winning head coaches and say, you're just not good enough to get it done in the playoffs. Maybe it's time we make a change. We saw it in Baltimore, right? They want to make a change so bad. They wanted the offensive coordinator gone. The head coach says, no, I don't want to change him. He's not the problem. Well, they said, well, then you got to go because we got to make some drastic changes. We're not getting where we need to be. We're not taking advantage of the talent window we have. Pittsburgh, the head coach says 19 years. We've had a good run. It's time to go. Okay. Here you turn around, same thing, right? They've had multiple bites at the apple in Buffalo. They haven't gotten it done. They haven't gotten to the Super Bowl. They were picked to go the past 2 or 3 years. It hasn't happened with Josh Allen, even with the MVP. And right now you're looking at it and, unfortunately, the NFL franchises are no longer satisfied with winning coaches. They want championship coaches. So McDermott had to go. They're going to change it up. You have a quarterback that loved them. The quarterback didn't play the greatest game. The defense didn't play the greatest game either. And if you're not playing great football in the playoffs, you're at risk of getting sent home. 4 turnovers by Josh Allen is bad. It wasn't all him. Okay. I'll be realistic. It wasn't all him. Some of those interceptions, you could see receivers could make a play on the ball. They made no play on the ball. That's unfortunately, it takes 2 guys to complete a pass, not one. Josh Allen, unfortunately, didn't play his greatest game. The guy that everybody put on that pedestal and said, this is now the quarterback that we all look at and say he is the prototype, no longer Patrick Mahomes. Well, guess what? Patrick Mahomes still has his 3 rings in 5 years. Not Josh Allen. He's still waiting on the first one. He's got to start to get it done late in the season. And it's not, like I said, it's not just him, but you're not seeing that dynamic performance consistently from him in the playoffs like you are with Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. I think you put it great. All right, Cam, what were you thinking when Josh Allen was at the podium crying and taking, all of the credit for the loss?
Now, part of me obviously feel bad because Josh Allen is an amazing competitor, one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I love watching his game, but this is what the media, this is what people have been saying for years and years. Why doesn't Josh Allen get the same treatment as other quarterbacks? If that was Lamar, if that was Mahomes, if that was Burrow, the game wouldn't be, did Josh Allen do enough? The game would be like, what's the next step for these quarterbacks? Are the Bengals or the Ravens going to move on from their franchise quarterback? Now it's like Josh Allen just gets a pass and they find the excuses. Now it's Keon Coleman and it's the defense not giving up points. Well, the Buffalo defense was amazing last game. The reason they lost was because of the 4 turnovers. So Sean McDermott had to go, but the same point, Josh Allen has yet to beat Patrick Mahomes in the playoffs. He's in the AFC Championship game almost every year. The NFL made a rule change for Josh Allen so that he could stop losing in overtime. He still couldn't get it done. So at this point, it's like, Josh, you're on your own, buddy.
I'm with you. I was snapping in agreement because they did that for Josh Allen. And you still go out there and you run with your purse on the side so that you fling it backwards. Like, none of that made sense. And I think that was also Sean McDermott's fault in the sense of, you got 20 seconds left in the half, just take a knee. Just take a knee, man. You don't need to have Josh try to do something crazy and then in result you're down 10 instead of only down 7 going into halftime. I don't know. I think that's what got him fired, honestly. Losing, yes, but that was a crazy choice by Josh and him. Go ahead.
There was a preview of this failure coming. And that game was the Philadelphia game. If you watch the Philadelphia game, it played out a lot like this game. So when I look at the Buffalo Bills, and like I said, yes, you can put a lot of this on. 4 turnovers is always going to be on the quarterback no matter what. But there were times they could have got key stops in that game. They couldn't get it done. All right. James Cook was running all over everybody all season, controlled this game, right? So they got to control the dynamic running attack of the Bills, right? This is one of those things where when you have a quarterback struggling, you look for something else to pick it up. Nobody else could pick up the slacks. It was going to be Josh Allen had to make it all himself or nobody. Right? It just was what it was. You had one nice run from Cook, but for the most part, he was bottled up all game long. Where was Keon Coleman making some big catches? We know the tight ends, they have injuries at the tight end position, but, they had some nice catches from the slot receiver, Shakir. Mm-hmm. Right? So they've gotten a lot of things right, but a lot of things wrong. And they've got to figure that part out. They've got to figure it out. This is getting to the point with the Bills where that window is going to start to close. This team is going to get old in certain positions you have to fix quickly. And if you can't do it, guess what? Josh Allen's prime is going to go bye-bye real fast.
Yeah, we've just seen all the head coaches leave their quarterbacks that they got in the beginning. Speaking of young guys, we're going to go with the Niners and the Seattle game as our final little recap. And, we all saw this coming. I don't know how to put it kindly. I think everyone in the Bay was really holding on to the last straw of hope, just like somehow the dancing Brock Purdy could win, but it was really bad. Not scoring any touchdowns in 2 games against the same team. It was really bad. So let's just recap. And I know where we're all going to go. The whole team is injured. So what was Brock Purdy's mistake, in this game? What did you think was tough for him? Go ahead, Jeff.
It was bigger than Brock Purdy. What I saw in Seattle was the bully get bullied, right? Mm-hmm. We're always used to the Niners coming out with their boom box. They're pushing and shoving. They're talking to everybody. They bully people around at the line of scrimmage. Not this Seattle team. This Seattle team is built different. Their defense on the line of scrimmage manhandles people. Then they turn around on offense, and their offensive line manhandles people. They're without their left tackle and even their backup left tackle. They're still running it down San Francisco's throat. They're throwing it when they need to throw it and making plays. Plain and simple, this team was the bully. The Niners got bullied for once, and it was a severe beating that they took at the hands of that bully in Seattle. Plain and simple. I know everybody wants to put it on Brock Purdy. That was a total domination. Offensively, defensively, the special teams with the opening kickoff going to the house. They took the fight right to San Francisco, and San Francisco had no answer.
Yeah, you starting the game off against the top defense in the league the way you did, that was just – at that point, I was like, I should go home. I shouldn't spend any more money at this bar because I'm just paying to drink at this point. I'm not paying to have a good time.
You had a lot to drink. A lot to drink about. Yeah.
Well, hey, I was just rooting for the Niner fans in camaraderie, right? I've already been drinking for the Raiders for many years. It have passed since that was going on. Cam, what did you think the Niners can just turn around with at this point after losing like that 2 times to Seattle?
I think for the Niners, and we've been saying it the past 3 years, is about health. What we saw in that game, I don't usually say this, but it wasn't Brock Purdy's fault. Usually when you lose in the playoffs, majority of the blame goes to the quarterback. But Purdy didn't even have 2 to 3 seconds to even go through his progressions. It was like the line was pushed back. Seattle's defense, the momentum, like you said, when Shaheed had that kick return, it's like the whole momentum shifted. And it was like San Francisco, San Francisco is that team that come bully you, talk trash, defense, very aggressive. If it sounds like Seattle was basically treating them like their little brother, doing whatever they want. Kenneth Walker was averaging, I think he was averaging over 6 yards per carry. If a running back's averaging over 5 yards a carry, it's no way you're winning the game. So I feel like San Francisco, their injuries, it kind of hurt their toughness. They didn't have the guys out there. So they'll be back. They'll be in the thick of things. But like we say, once again, how can we get San Francisco to the playoffs? How can we get the most key important players healthy throughout the season?
All right, I have a question. Would you rather your team go to the Super Bowl as many times as the Niners have and the results are the same, or would you rather be a Raider fan?
I'd rather be a Niners fan. No way.
Listen, as long as you're winning, you're a happy fan. Only the miserable fans find misery in losing in the playoffs. I mean, let's be realistic. You have to win to get to the playoffs. There are fans that go, it's the same. Join us on the couch. No, it ain't. We made playoffs. We had a shot. You had no shot. You were at home when your season was over as soon as the calendar said playoffs, okay? Two different things, okay? You earn your way to something. You compete with the best for the championship. Or you don't even make it out the regular season, and then you show that how far away you are from being there. And if you're a Niner fan right now, yes, you're hurt the way you lost. But once again, this is what year? How many years they've made the playoffs now? Okay, look at the Raiders. Okay, they haven't sniffed playoffs in a while. The last few times they've been there, they had no real shot at winning. Okay, that team right now, that organization is trying to find life. One has a life. One has no life right now. Their best player, their highest paid player, can't figure out what to do with that organization, whether he wants to be there or not. And if he wants to be there, how the hell are they going to make it worth his while for him to stay there? You know, same thing that one of the best pass rushers in Cleveland is trying to figure out. Why am I still here besides the money? Because honestly, we can't seem to figure out how to win here. That's unfortunately, you don't want to be those fans. And I've said this about Cowboy fans for years because they're crying about, we haven't won a championship 30 years. You weren't happy with Mike McCarthy winning 12 wins. And getting to the playoffs 3 straight years. That wasn't good enough for you. Now look at you. You're upset about everything, right? So winning, as John Madden would say, is a great deodorant, right? You don't stink when you win it, right? So plain and simple, be happy when your team wins and stop crying about not winning a championship. They're not guaranteed.
I guess I meant it more in the sense is like you're getting so close to the Super Bowl year in and year out, and then you fall short. Compared to you already know what the expectations are. But you're right. You're right. Any Raider game they won, we were like, cool. 1 out of 18.
So many fans feel like Schmeagol. They keep reaching for they can't seem to touch it, right? Listen, your team is close. If you're reaching for it, that means you're close. Okay? If you ain't got a shot, you should be an unhappy fan base. Jet fans should be unhappy. Okay.
Yeah, I guess I should have used the Jets.
There's absolutely nothing to be unhappy about, besides the fact that you got blown out. If you had a close loss, so be it. You know, they were a better team, but they really proved they were a better team in the worst way at your behest, unfortunately.
Yeah. All right. Well, I just had to ask. All right, we're going to start off with what is to come, and we've got the AFC Championship game, which is honestly kind of exciting because of Jarett Stidham's pass that everybody is harping on. He has not thrown the ball in 749 days since his last pass attempt. I think that he's literally got nothing to lose, right? He's just filling the shoes of a draft pick that was planned, and he has the opportunity to do something better. And like I said, we saw the Patriots game. Like, they didn't play any more lights out than anybody else. So I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are. I think Jeff, maybe not. Somebody said Drake May was their MVP. I know Joe did, and I know somebody else did.
No, I said he was in the running.
Yes.
I didn't say he was in the running. Let him get hot, and he'll definitely be in the running. And he's hot right now.
I'll let you start with the Patriots and just a little bit of what you liked from that game and how you think they're going to take all of that in this matchup against Denver.
Well, with the Patriots, it starts with the running game. Their running game has been on fire this year. And that's kind of what revived this offense. It doesn't have to be all on Drake May. We talk about the mix of Henderson, along with Ramondre Stevenson. Those two running backs have brought life to this running game. It gives Vrabel his type of team, which, like his Tennessee Titans, we run the football. We opportunistic throwing the football. We play tough defense. And he's got all of that going for him. He's got something really great going for him is, guess what? The guy who's coming off the bench hasn't played all year. So guess what? Jarett Stidham's got to come in the biggest spot and have the biggest game. Word of caution, people, don't go counting your chickens before they hatch, okay? Because you know what? One of the rings I have is because we had a young man come off the bench who ain't thrown a pass all year and win a playoff game for us. So guess what? You think that Jarett Stidham can't get it done? He's in the NFL for a reason. Sean Payton believes in him for a reason. Jarett Stidham, when I scouted him, I did not have a starting grade on him. I said, but he'd be a very good backup. Well, guess what? Good backups win playoff games at times. So guess what? If you go in there thinking that this game is over before it started, Denver may prove something otherwise to you. They still have a good running game. They have an offense that can make plays on the outside. Most importantly, they have a very good pass rush that they don't have to blitz you too much. And guess what? That is a great way to mess with Drake May. They shut down a lot of running games this year. So don't be surprised if Denver comes out here and pulls this out. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen. That is not a prediction. But guess what? It is a spoiler if you sleep on Denver.
All right. I'm going to give Denver to you, Cam. How do you think you're this new QB? You really got nothing on your back, no resume, 700 days since you thrown the ball. How are you feeling? How do you feel about this Broncos team and taking over against this Patriots team?
Well, before the playoffs started, I said Bo Nix was going to lead the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl. Well, that prediction would have been true, but obviously Bo Nix got hurt. But I'm still sticking with the prediction. I think Jarett Stidham can do the same thing and lead the Denver Broncos to the Super Bowl. I think they had the opportunity to win. Nick Bonino, Patrick Surtain, who's the best defensive player in football. That defense, all Jarett has to do, like Cam Newton said, be a game manager. That's all. Be a game manager. Complete the short throws. Don't turn the football over. You probably get J.K. Dobbins back. Get Cortland Sutton going earlier. Get those guys, Marvin Mims, get a couple deep shots, trick the defense. Jarett Stidham's been here before. We saw the last game with the Raiders. Played phenomenal. Let's not forget, he learned under Tom Brady, so he has some expertise on when to do and come in clutch moments. So if he just goes out there, balls, and just be a game manager, that Broncos defense can turn any quarterback into a Super Bowl winning quarterback.
Yeah, I think what we've seen from the last matchup, you can really force Drake May to make a ton of mistakes. What Jarett Stidham should not do is replicate that himself and avoid making any mistakes. If you see the pocket collapsing, just take the sack sometimes. You know what I mean? Don't try to be the hero. Don't try to make big plays and get the ball down the field unless you know that you are going to make the accurate throw, right? You just don't want this to really be – of course, he's got to take it over, but I like how Cam put it. You got to be a game manager. And if you feel like the offense is unfolding the way that it's planning and it's a long game, you got time. You can avoid making big mistakes like this that could cost the Denver team a loss. And I think that the Denver defense is really what you're going to rely on. Just like Houston scoring 30 buckaroonies against Aaron Rodgers, the Denver defense can figure out a way to do that against Drake May, because if he's throwing interceptions to this defense, I'm going to bet they're trying to run it back for a touchdown, get close enough to the end zone, and give Jarett Stidham the opportunity to score, right? There's a lot more attached to this than I think that people understand. Drake May's put together a lot of great football in this season and in this postseason, and he will prove us all wrong, maybe me, if he gets through the W. But I really think that this is an open game. Like, we would have never expected this coming into the postseason, thinking we're going to talk about a really big open AFC matchup where we could see some great football or some ugly football, depending on how it goes for either team. But I feel like this is more exciting than we've seen AFC championship games in a while, because you know why? The Chiefs have been there every single time.
Exactly. I'm so
this
thankful.
Is so different. Yeah. Yeah. Like, finally, Cam's prediction brought us to this moment where we don't have to see that right now.
And the style of play fits, right? We talk about what's the best way to upset them. Well, play tough defense, run the football, be opportunistic, keep them off the board, and, get by any way you can. Well, guess what? We saw last week versus Houston. Houston, with all the mistakes that Stroud was making, was in that game. Okay, so New England couldn't put away a team when Houston was struggling last week. Okay, their defense, tough. We saw that 4-man rush created all the problems in the world for Drake May. They're going to create problems in this matchup for Drake May, because guess what? Denver's defense is really good at rushing for him. Okay, and they have the ability to blitz you and zone blitz you. Those corners are tough on the outside, right? So, like I said, as long as they can go out there and find plays with R.J. Harvey running the ball, catching the ball out of the backfield, because guess what? Christian Gonzalez is a heck of a corner. But he's going to be covering the gazelles on the outside. The linebackers got to stop R.J. Harvey. That's going to be a hard matchup for their linebackers. So there are opportunities for Denver to keep this game close and pull it out in the end. Remember, you're going through Denver. You're not going through Foxborough. So it's a different animal going out there to Denver. So, like I said, the way that New England puts this away early is to have their offense come out and take the fight to Denver's defense, get a big early lead, and put all the pressure on Jarett Stidham to use his arm to bring them back. If as long as it's a neck-and-neck game, that leaves it up to anybody to win it. And that's the best way for Jarett Stidham to be successful. So don't be surprised. Like I said, if this is a neck-and-neck game, Jarett Stidham gives him a chance to win. He does, because he can go out there and not make mistakes. He is a game-managing type of quarterback.
You know, I don't think people are bringing the altitude conversation enough up, because I went to Denver. I could barely walk, okay? I could only imagine you're trying to tackle for the Super Bowl, right? Like every single quick motion you make is like all you're having on your brain is like, I'm going to the Super Bowl, but I'm in Denver. Like the altitude is so bad up here. So I think that's a huge factor that can benefit Denver. This game's going to be fun. Fun. There's just so many layers to it, because if Drake May just blows up the Denver defense, that's all we're going to talk about, right? Like he is that guy, MVP, it's yours. So I think we've got a lot to see. And I want to hear what you guys are mostly looking forward to when it comes to this AFC Championship game. And I'll go with Cam first.
The thing that I'm looking forward to is, can the Patriots keep the momentum? Last game, their offense was kind of shaky. Can Drake May bounce back? Is he going to have his sophomore struggles? Is he going to have his early young struggles? Or is Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, are they going to gain ground in the running game? Because their running game has not been good the past few weeks. And the Patriots are best when they can run the ball, get the ball to Hunter Henry, get it on the short sticks to Stephon Diggs, make a couple deep throws to Booty or Pop Douglas, guys like that. But it's up to the Patriots defense. You have Jarett Stidham. You know what you have. You know what you can do. If you can limit him, if you can take away his weapons and allow him to beat you throwing the ball, then you can live with it. If not, then you do it. But my biggest key for right now is the Patriots defense has to step up, and Drake May cannot make any mistakes.
All right, Jeff, what about you? What are you looking forward to in this matchup?
I'm looking at the matchup of these two running games. Which one is going to dominate the game? Which one is going to set the pace of the game? Is it going to be that Denver running game where R.J. Harvey, who's able to go out there and pop big runs and turn short passes into long runs? Or is it going to be those two dynamic backs on the New England side? Is it going to be the shiftiness and power of Stevenson, or is it going to be the quick burst of Henderson? Henderson, of course, provides many opportunities. He's also a kick returner. So he can go out there and get you a big kick return. So there are so many ways these running backs are going to control this game. I want to see which one is most effective.
That was literally what I was going to say. I was going to say I'm so intrigued to see how the running game takes over, because the Patriots' two running backs have been the reason they've gotten this far, right? Like last year we were bagging on Ramondre Stevenson. That guy was just dropping balls, just not a very trustworthy RB. And then this year he turned it completely around, right? He got benched last year. Like it was just like a completely different 180. And then because we have a backup quarterback starting, just how much can you rely on RJ Harvey to make big plays for you and just like give you the opportunity for the short game? So I hate that I'm copying Jeff, but I was literally going to say the same thing. So I'm glad we're on the same page.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, it's amazing what having competition does to your game, right? Mm-hmm. Last year, Ramondre Stevenson was the dude, right? He was their main back. This year, you bring in Travion Henderson, yes, and it's like, well, I better step up, or this dude's gonna take my job. So, when you're earning that living, you do whatever you can to keep your job. So, kudos to him for stepping up and saying, you know what, I'm going to do everything I got to do to stay a factor in this and keep my job, as opposed to getting upset, taking my ball, going home because this young dude just came in here and wrecked shop.
Yeah, he was legit this close to losing his job.
Yeah.
I feel like
those early fumbles almost put him on the bench for good, right? So he stepped up after that. He made sure, I'm going to make sure my checks keep flowing in. I would like to keep my job.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%.
Yeah.
All right, the NFC is the NFC West only. Like the third time these teams are meeting, just like the last game. And we've seen the Seahawks defense just be the most complete team. I think the main topic is Sam Darnold's injury, right? Like how big is this injury? Because you could see in the matchup against the Niners, the passing for him, it was tough. You could see him, like the pain that he was kind of in. He was only completing short passes. Like it just wasn't that same offensive flow and energy that he's carried throughout the season. It was, you could see that this is affecting him. And I was really like confused. I thought this was just a ploy. I was like, Seattle's just saying that. Like there's nothing wrong with him because they had a week off. You're telling me this guy is injured after having a bye week? Like it doesn't make any sense. So I'm going to start with that. How much pain or how much is this injury affecting Sam Darnold, do you guys think, Cam?
Yeah, I think this injury is really affecting Sam Darnold, like we saw on his dropbacks, his throws. It was a lot of short to the sticks. I feel like they made the game plan heavily around Zach Charbonnet and Kenneth Walker. They made it a key impact to run the ball, run it down their throats, get an early lead, take key shots to JSN on third or second and long when we need it. But Sam Darnold didn't have to do much. He basically had the game manager role where he just sat back there and let the offense do everything around him. Now this week, hopefully another week off, Sam Darnold can at least get his legs back together. But if Darnold can't move outside the pocket and use his mobility, because that's one of his best traits when he can use his own mobility, if you make him a standing scarecrow in the pocket, it's a bad situation for your offense because it's going to lead into turnovers. Sam Darnold is going to be collapsed in the pocket, and there's going to be so opportunities for the Rams to take multiple interceptions. So I think get Sam Darnold healthy. You get Kenneth Walker back in that running back room, and you be like, hey, we're running you 30 times a game again, so you better be ready. That's the only shot Seattle has, because if Sam Darnold's not fully healthy, I just don't think he can run away from that Rams defense.
Yeah, it's actually pretty unfortunate that Charbonnet got injured in that game and now he's out for the season because the dual running back role has been their strong suit alongside the defense. So what about you, Jeff? What were your thoughts when you first saw the news alert come out last week about everything with Sam Darnold's injury?
I wasn't worried because that would limit Sam Darnold. Well, guess what? Sam Darnold is limited anyway, right? One of the things we've seen with Sam Darnold throughout his career is he's at his teams win more when he does less. He doesn't have to carry the team with his talents, right? So you saw it in Minnesota last year when they were running the ball and playing tough defense and he only had to make occasional big throws, they won. When he had to carry the team because teams were able to get points on their defense early and the running game wasn't hitting, they struggled. You fast forward to this year in Seattle, similar thing, right? When they went up against the Rams and the Rams beat them. Why? Because they were slowing down that running game. Sam Darnold had to make all the throws. He struggled. Sam Darnold is a good quarterback. The problem with Sam Darnold is he's always been turnover prone. Okay, so when you're in a tough matchup and you have to rely on Sam Darnold, there's going to be a turnover in there. And if you can't survive the turnovers begin to multiply, right? So last week, everything happened the way they needed it to happen. You had the big kickoff return, the running game was hitting. He didn't have to carry the game. He made a couple of good throws in the game. That's all you needed to do. Your defense shut down the Niner offense. It was a blowout. You got out of the game early. He got the rest that oblique a little at the end. So going into this game with this Rams team, they know what they have to do. That defense has to come out there. They have to play their best game again. They have to get that same effort they did against the 49ers. And guess what? You may not have Zach Charbonnet, but you got the right dude in Kenneth Walker who can go out there and be your bell cow, run that ball 25 times, Spread that the other carries at your other running backs. But you got to get him out there 25 times, pounding, grinding, catching, doing everything he's got to do to get you past this game. You're the home team. It's in your environment. You've got the Rams outside of the dome in the elements. One of the things that's going to work in your favor. But guess what? If you go out there and you allow your running game and defense to control the tempo of this game, it doesn't matter whether Sam Darnold has a bad oblique, a bad back, a half concussion. As long as he's not turning the ball over, you're going to win this game.
We saw the Rams really bring out like a gritty game against Chicago. It's snowing, it's cold, everyone's making fun of the sun babies in the Rams, right? Like this is their flaw. Now they head to Seattle, cold, sure, rain, whatever, but this is still a team that we know that can really push through. And they play such I feel like these teams are almost equal in the sense of how these defenses compare. And then I predicted Matthew Stafford and the Rams to go to the Super Bowl and be the MVP. So I think the performance he had in that game, just continuing to push through, he got sacked so many times, right? There's just so many things that the Rams were able to overcome against Chicago and then face now in Seattle. So what do you think is one of the main hardships for the Rams in this matchup? I'll go with Jeff first.
The hardship for the Rams is going to be, one, protecting Matthew Stafford, right? One of the things we talked about with Seattle, they get after the quarterback. That front four is relentless. Leonard Williams, DeMarcus Lawrence, those guys get after the quarterback. They're also very good at stopping the run. They're going to make it hard on Kyren Williams in this game. So I think if you go out there and you play the best game you can play offensively, and you put the pressure on Seattle offensively, you can come out of there with the win. But if you allow that Seattle front to do what they did to San Francisco last week, to come out there, harass your quarterback, shut down your running game, it's going to be a long night for them. This is not going to be a game where they can come out there and go toe-to-toe and play mediocre football for 4 quarters and think they're going to pull it off in late in the fourth or overtime. This is a game with a team that right now they are dominating opponents. And when you're playing against a team like that, you've got to hit them hard first and early and often. So this way, they have to match your energy. You're not trying to match theirs.
Yeah, and I just want you guys to know the Seahawks are 3-0 in NFC Championship games. So I think that also gives them the edge in their opinion. What about you, Cam? What is one of the major things that the Rams got to face and get right in this matchup?
I think the Rams got to get right is for JSN. We haven't seen him really pop off the last few weeks. We haven't seen the volume of targets and catches. And I feel like this game is going to be that game where the Rams key on Kenneth Walker. As Charbonnet is out of the season with an injury, Kenneth Walker is going to be the key. They're going to key on Kenneth Walker. They're going to make Sam Darnold throw the ball. So that's guys like Cooper Kupp and guys like JSN is going to have a ton of one-on-one opportunities. Now, can the Rams secondary help? Can the Rams secondary limit him? Because you're not going to limit JSN. He's going to get his catches. But can you limit the big plays, the 40-yard, the 50-yard plays, the Shaheed 60-yard plays? If the Rams can just send relentless pressure, I think that's the way that you beat Sam Darnold the easiest. You get him sped up. You get him seeing ghosts. You send pressure. You disguise coverages, and that's the best because Sam Darnold, like Jeff said, he's going to make a turnover at some point. And it feels like Darnold always makes a turnover in the worst parts of the game, and the momentum shifts. So you bring relentless pressure, you attack Sam Darnold, and you make him throw the ball. I think the Rams have a high chance of winning this game.
Yeah, I mean, I say in almost every single video, Sam Darnold is guaranteed a turnover, but he hasn't lately, obviously, because he was playing the Niners, which that was his best opportunity to play a clean game. But we've seen it through the regular season and just continuing from last year. So I agree with both of you. That's the main way the Rams can expect this game to go in their favor. I also am wondering, I think the same question I asked from the Patriots and the Broncos matchup is what do you think, and you can pick whichever team you want, whichever team it needs to do to get everything right, to win and pull through a victory, What do you think either of these teams need to do? And I'll go with Cam first.
I'm going to go with Seattle. I think for Seattle to win, they got to be creative. They can't be the same stale offense because Sean McVay is a creative genius head coach. So they got to be creative. They got to out the game plan. They got to send Shaheed. They got to do motions. They got to be creative. They got to get Sam Darnold outside the pocket, short throws, defense, kick returns, special teams. Something special has to happen in that game for momentum to shift, for them to gain the lead, and now just play with your great defense and try to stop the MVP and Matthew Stafford. That's the Seattle's best way at winning this game. You can't have a stale offense. Let's not run straight up the middle with Kenneth Walker on first down every single drive. Let's switch it up. Let's get JS in. Let's run some trick plays. Something. I feel like they're going to do something creative to catch the Rams off guard in a key pivotal moment. I think that will be the advantage to Seattle of the Rams.
All right, I like that. What about you, Jeff? What do you think?
For me, it's going to be on the Rams to come out hot. You can't come into this game and try and feel this out. You have to come out and take the fight to them early. Go out there. If you get the ball first, go right down the field and score a touchdown. No field goal, no drive across the 50 and pin them deep. You have to finish with 6 on the first drive, get a stop on the second drive, and come right back again and hit them again. Right? That kind of start is going to make it a lot easier on the Rams to pull this game out. If they're going back and forth early, or if they're both struggling, guess what? Eventually that Seattle team is going to figure it out. And while the Rams may figure it out, you may be figuring it out from the wrong end of the scoreboard. Come out early, take the fight to them, make them play the game they don't want to play, which is a back and forth or a chase the Rams kind of game. Those are the games that are going to lose this game for Seattle, right? If you allow it to go toe-to-toe offensively, if you're both scoring back and forth, eventually somebody's offense is going to get the better of that defense permanently. Right? Somebody's defense is eventually going to get a stop that's going to put you in trouble. So if I'm the Rams, I go out there and I put all the pressure on Sam Darnold to have to do all the work. Why? Because I'm going to shut down that running game and I'm going to keep scoring offensively. And now Sam Darnold's got to go out there and be the guy that everybody keeps saying he is. And he hasn't proven he is yet.
I'm going to obviously lean towards the team I picked to go to the Super Bowl. And I think Davante Adams really has to be the clutch player he's been all season, all postseason. He has really been Matthew Stafford's go-to guy. And I would love to see him get a ring. So I think in this matchup, just like Jeff said, coming in heavy, just Matthew Stafford really dominating this defense, because I think that's where they're going to start to fall apart. The cracks could come through is if you score heavy and you score early, you maintain possession of the ball for a long time, like kind of keep the clock on your side. Those are all the things the Rams can use to their advantage alongside the Davante Adams, which is why I brought him up, because with him in the backfield and like just getting that deep pass to Davante, it's just with him and Puka Nacua, they are a lethal duo. And I'm sure we'll see Seattle cover them so well. But at some point, like I'm saying, the cracks are going to come through a little bit. And then we're going to be able to see that Rams offense do what they need to do against a Seattle defense. And this is really the best team in the league, right? Seattle is like the most complete team we could all agree on. And so for the Rams to do what they need to do, those are kind of my opinions of how everything could unfold. So I think for the NFC, we haven't really said it, but when you're playing a team 3 times, I'm going to ask Jeff, like, how hard is that?
Very hard, right? You've seen everything you could really throw at each other. You got to really dig deep in your bag to kind of figure out how to outflank somebody. But realistically, the main thing that you have to do when you're playing a team a third time is not make the mistakes, right, that are going to get you beat. Go out there, play a clean game. You know them, they know you, so you're not really going to fool each other. It's about who's going to make the least mistakes and be effective, right? Be confident in what your game plan is. Go out there and execute it, make the proper adjustments, and you'll be just fine. It's hard to do. I've done it, and trust me, that third time is the most unpredictable thing in the world, because just because you swept them in the regular season, people have gotten beat in the playoffs, and vice versa. You know, you lost to them both times. All of a sudden, you pull it out, or you split, and all of a sudden the third game's a blowout. Where did this come from? Well, sometimes you just happen to play the cleaner game. You're playing the better that day, and you get the better of that team. To me, it's all about the mistakes, though. You can't go in there and make the same mistakes you made, whether you lost to them in the regular season or they got you beat in other games. You got to go out there and play clean and put yourself in the best position to put them away.
Okay, well, we obviously need to answer who we think is going to go to the Super Bowl. So I'm going to ask Cam first. Who are you predicting will head to the Super Bowl?
I'm going to go with the team, which state I currently live in. I'm going with the New England Patriots. Drake May, lover, this is for you. I think this is the year for the Patriots. They got it everything. They got the head coach, they got the quarterback, they got the wide receiver, they have the defense. Now it's just time. Can this team consistently do the things that they do in the regular season? Can they consistently come through? I think if Drake May doesn't turn the ball over, Ramondre Stevenson, Travion Henderson, if these guys stay active and keep doing the thing that they're doing every single game, Mike Vrabel is going to make sure his team is in the Super Bowl. And when they're in the Super Bowl, when you have a coach like Mike Vrabel, no matter what, he's going to have the X's and O's and make sure that his team gets to the promised land. So I'm going with New England. I think the dynasty is not starting back up. This is just going to be 1 year. This is going to be 1 year, but give me Drake May and the New England Patriots.
Okay, but what about the NFC? I feel like that one's more difficult to choose.
It's so difficult because it's like they're so close, but I'm going to go with the MVP and Matthew Stafford and the Rams. I just think Sam Darnold's injury is just too much to overcome, and I think the Rams are finally going to take advantage of his injury. And like Jeff said, that pick six in the late fourth quarter to swing that 7-point lead is going to be a killer to Seattle.
Okay. All right, Jeff. Who are your Super Bowl predictions?
For me, it's going to be a Super Bowl rematch. New England, Seattle, and no Russell Wilson interception in the end zone this time, right? The reason being, plain and simple, I just believe that Seattle's playing some amazing football right now. They're at home. They have a lot of things in their favor. But most importantly, that defense right now is playing at its peak. We talked about the Legion of Boom. This defense is built very similar, very stout up front, excellent DBs in the secondary. I love Devin Witherspoon coming out of Illinois. To me, he was my top corner in that draft, and he has played nothing less than spectacular since he's arrived at Seattle. They've done a great job of building that roster back up. You talk about the guys on the outside. Yes, we can talk about Jackson Smith and Jigba, but Cooper Kupp has played well as well. Okay, so you've got guys on that team that are stepping up at the right time, and that's always a recipe for success. New England, you got the biggest break of all, right? Because now you don't have to deal with Bo Nix. You still got to take this team very serious in Denver, but I don't believe Denver gets 4 turnovers this time around to get out of this game like they did Buffalo. So therefore, give me New England and Seattle in a rematch.
Okay. All right. Well, I think you can predict who I'm going to pick from the NFC because I chose them in the beginning. I'm going to go with the Rams and Matthew Stafford and those 2 offensive weapons that I just touched upon, Devontae and Puka Nacua. And I feel like the AFC is a little bit more difficult because I hyped up Jarett Stidham in my breakdown so much that it would be wrong to pick against him. So I think I'm just going to do that. I'm going to ride with Denver. I think that defense is so much stronger, and I think that Drake May is going to do exactly what we're saying Sam Darnold is going to do. It's going to be a lot of pressure. He's going to feel it, and he's going to commit a turnover. I mean, he did it against a stellar Houston's Texans defense, so I can expect the same can happen here. And Denver playing in the altitude, huge factor for that matchup. And I think the Rams and Broncos, I don't know if that's the matchup everybody wants since Bo Nix won't be there. But I just think that in some way that Denver defense is going to be the leader. But if I'm wrong about that AFC game, I really won't be heard about it because Drake May has been in the MVP chatter all season long. But I'm going to stick to the Rams for sure, winning that AFC matchup game.
We've seen the backup quarterback hero happened plenty of times. Jeff Hostetler, right? Mm-hmm. Turn around, Nick Foles, right? We've seen it enough times now that to know that it can happen. So we're not going to just discount Jarett Stidham. It can happen, folks.
Yeah, I was going to say the note that he said to backup quarterbacks, he's like, I am proof. There is data, and I am the one positive piece of data. So I'll just ride with that. Plus, Jarett Stidham was on the Raiders. Not like that really mattered because it didn't matter. But I'll just ride with that AFC West choice because of the lore, right? That's where the lore of it all. All right, guys. This has been a fun hour breaking down our final 2 games. Like, I can't even believe the season's already over. I'm really emotional. And I appreciate both of you for being here. Do you have any final words? Any final words on either of these matchups?
The only final words I have is trust in Jarett Stidham. He's going to get the job done. Doesn't matter how pretty or ugly it looks. I think he's going to get the job done. And then on the other hand, it's Matthew Stafford. See you in the Super Bowl.
Enjoy the show, folks. You only have a few more weeks of NFL football left. Enjoy the show. Yeah,
I'm with you. I think this weekend will be unlike anything we've seen before because guess what? There's no Patrick Mahomes. Woo! All right. All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. And we will see you, of course, for a Super Bowl preview show. But until then, be sure to like, follow, subscribe everywhere for Team NBS Media for more content like this. Enjoy your week and the games on Sunday. And we will see you next time.